Good evening. This is a regularly scheduled meeting of the Planning Board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry, May 4th, 2017. We have five items on the agenda. The first one is Mercy College. Is there anybody here to speak on that yet?
Good evening, I'm White with Referral staff. You represent Mercy College. You'll recall that at the last meeting we held a public hearing on the site plan. After that, we submitted response memoranda and revised plans addressing the comments that we had received from your consultants at the meeting, as well as some of the questions and comments from the board. The public hearing was closed that night, so my understanding was we're here tonight. If you consider making your recommendation before it was.
All right, so I understand a number of changes and improvements were made on the landscape plan, primarily.
Yes, in addition to providing the responses, there was also a meeting on site with the landscape architect and the college's landscape architect, and they discussed a number of revisions, some of which were reflected, or most of which were reflected at the last minute on the revised plans. We received the additional memo from Lucille Munns that was dated April 24th. We just received it yesterday, but I think we have no issues with those comments being ultimately conditions. Most of them appropriately conditions of the issuance of the certificate of occupancy. Some of them have to do with sort of observing and making determinations about the landscaping in the future, and also in conjunction with the land.
Very good.
So, and those included, as I know it came up here, some of the landscape changes included kind of keep the large spruce trees that are there today. They're going to be cleaned up, devined, if you will, and trimmed to see how they survive, what kind of condition they're in, and also providing for a line of additional trees along Broadway.
Very good. Any other engineering items outstanding?
There are outstanding items, but they'll be addressed prior to the completion of the building.
Very good. Anybody else on the board? Any comments?
My only thought is, but you know, this is I know in one of the documents there was a kind of a laundry list of potential kind of future things that you all are working on, and my favorite thing is to talk about this, some traffic calming raised thing or something at the aqueduct crossing to the access road. That's it. I don't. Is it actually in here and I just missed it?
It's not. Some of what has been discussed in the past we've spoken to the state about, and they won't permit. I think some of it is in Irvington, so.
But is the, yeah, sure, Tom.
Yeah. Tom Simmons from Mercy College. Yeah, so where you had asked on the main drive is actually in Irvington. We're not opposed to putting that raised table in there, and we did mention it to the parks people that control the aqueduct. So we would deal with that as part of the Route 9 and the Irvington approvals that we're doing with the other projects.
Okay, great, thanks.
All right, so if no further comment?
I would also just mention that we did go before the HRB board and received approval.
We did. Okay, great. Was there any, I think there was just mention at one point, there was a comment about noise from the gym, that your consultants will address that?
Yes.
Right. All right, so make a motion. Or let me read the motion, yeah?
Yeah.
Very
We
good.
had seen a draft resolution the other day, and we had provided some comments. We haven't seen a revised draft, so just wondering, some of them were just cleanup, it was fixing some of the dates and things, but there was a proposed condition regarding the design improvements being completed prior to the issuance of the CO, which we objected to because it's out of our control. Here, state DOT, Con Edison, Verizon, a lot of other entities involved. With respect to the timing of getting that work completed, we can't even get through the New York State DOT right-of-way section.
We've taken that out. We've taken it out.
Oh, okay, thank you. We just hadn't seen it, so we wanted to be sure.
This is number 4 here.
Yeah, there was an amendment to the resolution.
The one I have still has it in.
Does it? Yeah. Do we? Anyone print that out or no? The new
Yeah,
one?
so it's here.
Let me just cross it out.
So I'm just gonna jump to item 4 here. Prior to the issuance of C of O for any part of the proposed building construction, the applicant shall complete all improvements to the main entrance Route 9 intersection as detailed in the prior resolution adopted by blah, blah. So, that's what we're saying we should not include?
I have the resolution, you want me to read it, if you want?
Sure, go ahead.
Make sure this is the right one. Yeah, so Village adopts Ferry Planning Board resolution providing a recommendation to the Board of Trustees regarding the proposed addition renovation to Victory Hall, together with renovations to Founder's Hall, North Wing, and other site work. Whereas the Mayor Board of Trustees received an application submitted by Mercy College to make certain improvements at the property, whereas the Board of Trustees, prior to holding a public hearing on the application, referred the matter to the Planning Board for recommendation. Whereas the Planning Board at its regular meeting session on March 2nd was briefed on the application and heard from Mercy College staff and their consultants regarding the proposed improvements, and a public hearing was set. Whereas a number of plans were submitted by Mercy College, whereas a duly noticed public hearing took place on April 6, 2017, and comments taken. Whereas the Planning Board held a duly noticed site inspection on March 12, 2017, to take a visual assessment of the proposed improvements. The Planning Board has received and reviewed the Hahn Engineering Staff Report of March 31, 2017, as well as the MUN's associated reports dated April 3rd and April 24th, and held an additional meeting on May 4th today. Now therefore be it resolved, the Planning Board finds that the site plan reviewed herein is consistent with the village's LWRP and vision plan, and the scale of the proposed improvements falls within the range of the activities under the State Environmental Quality Review Act, which may be treated as a Type 2 activity, and therefore exempt from review. Be it further resolved, the Planning Board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry recommends to the Board of Trustees that it grant site plan approval for the subject application, subject to the following: all applicable provisions of site plan regulations and other applicable county regulations shall be met. Prior to issuance of a building permit, all required site plan and engineering review fees shall be paid, and all items in the village consultant memo of March 31st, 17 shall be addressed. Prior to the issuance of a CO for any part of the proposed building construction, the applicant shall address all items contained in the MUN's associated reports dated April 3rd and April 24th to her satisfaction. The following language shall be added to the plan also, and approved subject to all requirements and conditions of a resolution dated whatever date the Board of Trustees approves it. Any change or modification, revisions of plan absent reapproval shall void the approval. Is there a motion?
Yes, I'll make a motion.
Second?
Second, all in favor? Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good luck.
All right, second item, we have continuation of public hearing for site plan approval for proposed single-family residences at 89 Beechdale Road, vacant land off Judson Avenue.
This is a continuation of a public hearing, I think, right?
Yeah. All right, so before we get started, Darius, you want to comment on the
Yeah.
letter that we received here from Law Office of Peter L.
Yes, we did receive a letter dated May 3rd, 2017 from Mr. Nersio, who I believe is here in the back. He essentially made an argument or a position known by some of the neighbors that use that private driveway to access 3 lots, indicated that he believed there was no frontage, that there was only 15 feet of frontage, and there's a requirement under the code of 25 feet. Myself and the building inspector have looked at this issue. This lot is part of a lot in a filed subdivision plat filed in November of 2004 under map number 2745. So it's a legal lot. So you're not considering a subdivision here. You're only considering a site plan. So the lot is legal. With all respect to Mr. Nersio, we disagree with him. We believe that there is adequate frontage given that it's a legal lot. It's been legal for 13 years at least, maybe more.
Okay, thank you.
But you can hear, I'm sure he's here and would like to say something, but that's our opinion now, but you can hear from him too.
All right, go ahead.
Good evening, Jim Zappi and Carl Morales. So we're here again for the public hearing. Can you hold that a little bit, Carlos? Last month when I was here, we talked about making some changes to the plan. So basically, again, this is the property lines. This is the front that we call road access. That's the front yard setback. And the original plan that we had before this board since September, so this is the common driveway that comes in, shows the driveway coming in with the side entry garage. And this neighbor was here, was concerned about his privacy, and talked about a lot of things. So what we had agreed to was modify the house plan to do a front-loaded garage, which is, against the zoning for the planning here in the town, where they recommend side entry. And in addition to this board, the architectural board, their guidelines also discourage front entry, front-loaded garages. So these would be garage doors, and the cars would come in this way. So we had left that we moved the driveway from a position that was along the property line to over here. And then we left the hammerhead and we're leaving the area for screening. So those were the concessions that we had offered. This board had did a consensus on, so we can move on to the architectural board. So since the last meeting that we had here, we went to the architectural board. They understand the situation with the neighbor and so the screening here. So they said it's fine, we're okay with the front loaded garage, as long as some of the other architectural features on the house was to their liking. So they didn't like our original house plan that we submitted, so we drew it and we'll be before them, I guess, at their next meeting. So we've incorporated some nice doors and more architectural features on the front of the house. I'm pretty sure they'll be very pleased with it. I think we can map something that's a little bit. So I don't know if you guys remember what the last house looked like, but our customers wanted the gambrel roof style on what was a colonial style house, so it really didn't fit. So we were really trying to jam it in. So we took some of the architectural board's recommendation and we turned this house into more of an Nantucket style house. So I'm going to think that they're going to be very pleased with the elevation. We've got some nice conform style doors in the front. We did some centering. So they made a lot of comments. We addressed their comments. This was our sketch that we have to generate to an AutoCAD file. So this is what it's.
Sorry, this is a different.
That was, the footprint is the same. That's the original house that we submitted to this board and the architectural review board.
Okay.
That's the one they take back, so it's going from looking like that to
Right,
looking like
yeah,
this.
because this is in our package, so. Thanks.
So the footprint's the same, the plan is the same, just basically the facade is different in the locations.
In terms of lot coverage and all the other requirements, any significant change?
No.
All right, very good. Anything else? Okay. All right, so there's a continuation of a public hearing. Do we have anybody from the audience who'd like to speak on this?
Good evening. Peter Nerzia, from the law office of Peter Nerzia, Harlem, New York. As Chuck Zeta had mentioned, I sent in a letter yesterday. I'm not going to read the letter, but I do want to elaborate on a few points. I represent the neighbor at 91 Beechdale, along with the neighbors who live at 87 Beechdale and 200 Judson Avenue. Those three neighbors all share a private driveway that the applicant would kind of use for access to his lot. So the main concern essentially boils down to the following. And before I even mention that, I do want to state that I know there have been numerous revisions. One of my clients had stated that there were some concerns that he initially had when this application started. I appreciate the effort that the applicant and the board has made in addressing those concerns. That being said, however, there are still concerns from our position, in our opinion, that the flag lot frontage requirements are not met at this point. Essentially, the comments boil down to the following. And we have no issue, it is a legally subdivided lot. But if you look closely at the 2004 subdivision map, the access strip for this lot is a long winding access strip, which is 15 feet in width. That strip obviously does not meet the 25-foot frontage requirements that's currently required for flag lots. The issue continues with that lack of frontage. Along the access strip pursuant to the subdivision map, there are currently 2 stone walls that cut across the access strip. Why they're there, I don't know. This fact pattern is a strange fact pattern to begin with, how the lots were created over time. But there are 2 stone walls that traverse and cut through 2 separate points of the applicant's access strip. The point with that is that because it blocks access along the subdivision strip, the only access to the lot is through, when based upon the 2004 easement that was entered into between the applicant's predecessor in interest and the adjoining neighbors on that street. That access strip, not on the subdivision, but on the easement agreement that was entered into at essentially the same time as that subdivision, is a shared driveway. It cuts across several of the other lots, or the driveways to several other lots. So it doesn't essentially mirror the same access strip from the subdivision map. It cuts through several other properties and to provide access. The point being is that because the subdivision strip is only 15 feet, obviously it doesn't meet the 25-foot frontage, but the point is that the exception to the flag lot subdivision requirement about using somebody else's access strip to gain the necessary frontage should not apply in this situation. The private driveway agreement is used currently by 3 homeowners. The applicant would be the 4th. So therefore, the exception that's in section 333B2, if I recall correctly, that to use somebody else's access strip to get to the required frontage, it's only limited to using one other access strip. Well, here we have a situation where several people, or several homeowners are using that same access strip. So our position is that due to that fact, the applicant could not use that exception to gain the required frontage. So with the fact of the stone walls cutting across or blocking ingress and egress along the subdivision strip, the fact that the actual access strip that's used pursuant to the easement that's been entered into the private driveway agreement that's used by multiple lot owners, our position is that the applicant cannot use that as to get to the 25-foot frontage for his lot. Where I think we're all heading with this is that my clients are concerned about the impact of this house, particularly along this driveway access. Where that's essentially heading is that we're making the claim that the applicant would need to get a variance to proceed with this application. Again, due to the fact that he currently has 15 feet pursuant to his subdivision access. The driveway access pursuant to the private driveway agreement is roughly 15 feet as well. So our position is that he doesn't have the 25-foot frontage. He would need to go through the variance process to obtain the 25 feet, or to get relief from the 25-foot requirement in that scenario.
Well, I mean, going on, the position of council, I think we've addressed that. I mean, it seems to me that, and probably most people looking at this plan, the drive doesn't follow really the easement. The physical facts on the ground don't really follow this, and it seems that many of the other properties have a similar condition, right? The drive and easement is overlapping, I think, his property, perhaps more than most.
Oh, that's correct. I mean, the other properties are obviously using that driveway strip, that private agreement. It does meander through and cuts across several, actually everybody's lot at some point or another is cutting across. But what I think that private agreement is essentially created is that the frontage that everybody's using through the driveway strip is substandard. If we're going to look at the subdivision access strip, 91 Beechdale and the applicant don't have 25 feet on the subdivision strip. By using the private driveway agreement, that's the only mode of ingress and egress. But to answer your point, if we're just looking at the private driveway agreement, you can't get 25 feet. What I think essentially it creates for the other homeowners who are using that strip but don't have 25 feet is that they're non-conforming at this point. They've gotten their COs, obviously their house is
Right,
developed.
so you're holding this applicant to that standard.
Well, yeah, I mean, the standard is that to get to where he needs to be, which is to get your approval, I think it needs to be referred back to the zoning board to go through that process. We're not looking to create more problems, but what we're looking for is that the process we follow, and I think the process is that he doesn't have the 25 feet, would need to get the variance in order to proceed at that point.
So is this something that could be straightened out through an adjustment of the private easement agreement?
Well, all parties would have to sign off and agree on that.
Right.
Whether that's possible or not, I can't comment on that. I don't know. To shift that agreement in one capacity or another would essentially have to be up to discussion. I just can't answer. I don't know.
Okay. All right, so Darius, you want to comment on that?
Yeah, I mean, I think I made my point before, and I happen to disagree with Mr. Nerzi. It may not be the first or the last, but, you know, the lot, you're not creating a lot. Since you're not creating a lot, you don't have an issue. If this were a subdivision, you were creating a lot, it'd be a different story. I would probably agree with Mr. Nerzi. Since the lot has been created a long time ago, you don't run into the same
So that would have been the
difficulties.
time to have brought this issue up. Is that
Correct. I don't know what, and I don't remember what the code said in '04, whenever this lot was created. It may have been 15 feet at the time, I don't know. But we have a filed plat that's legal, so we are sort of bound by that.
All right.
That's my point.
Obviously, I've heard what Mr. Shepard has said. I beg to differ on a few points because I think if you looked at it from this angle, if an existing house on this on this street, if it were a tear down, in order to rebuild that property, that party would be in the same position as the applicant is in. They have a lot that in all respects meets all of the criteria except for the street frontage. And if that party had to rebuild the house, I think they would have no choice but also to get a variance first before they came back to the planning board. So,
Well, pretty much when any modification of a house, I mean, you have a pre-existing condition, right? You're extending the nonconformity. Any addition to anybody's house would, right?
essentially, yes.
So,
I don't think you're
I mean, that would be a burden, I think.
Extending that nonconformity, you may
Yeah.
be extending setback to side or rear or front property lines or height requirement, but you're not extending the frontage
Right.
requirement. It's already pre-existing.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, thank you. The letter speaks for itself, and if there are any questions.
It's part of the record. Thank you.
Any other comments from the public?
Yeah, my name is Joe Cuneo. I have spoken to Mrs. Zappi once on the phone. I live at 213 Clinton Avenue, which is a lot that does not have access over the same road that you were just hearing about. I am also the prior owner of this specific lot that is the subject of 89 Beechdale, and whether I can provide any background that would be helpful or not, I don't know, because this goes back to long before I bought the property. It was subdivided around 1987, I believe. I do have copies of a couple of easements that were agreed to among some of the parties at that time. None of them are around anymore. Well, Mr. Rauch is still around, and he did, was signatory to one of the easements at that time. When I bought this lot in conjunction with the lot that my home is on, which is a large lot, also doesn't have frontage, but the access is from Clinton Avenue and not from Beechdale. I had planned to build a house on this lot on spec for sale until the time that Mr. Gutfleisch, who was then the owner of the adjacent house, came to me and wanted to not have a house there, so he bought the lot from me and now has sold it to Mr. Zapp. So anyway, that's some of the background, and I don't know whether it's helpful or not helpful to you. The subdivision goes back a long, long time. I am not a lawyer, so I don't know the significance of whether you need variances or don't need variances, one way or the other. One of the things, when I owned this lot and planned to build on it, I did have a design done by Steve Tilley, an architect that many of you I'm sure know. He also designed the house that's immediately adjacent to it at 87 Beechdale. And I asked him to design a house that would complement that house so that they didn't fight with each other. I haven't mentioned it to Mr. Zappi before. I did to his son a while back, but I'd be happy to give him the plans for whatever they're worth. I don't know whether if we've got a customer already involved for the site, they may not like what the house looked like, but it was done in a sensitive way, and I hear that that's some of the concern that exists here. The only other issue that I would bring up, and I don't know that everybody has looked at it yet or not, and that is the access for utilities. Much of that access comes across my yard. It crosses at least 3 different properties. Mine, a house that has now been built at, I think it's 285 Clinton Avenue. Jager, I believe the owner's name is. And a small piece of buffer lot that is owned by Mrs. Ryan. I know that there's an easement between Mr. Gutfleisch and myself that gave him access across my lot, so I have no issue with that one way or the other. I don't know whether there's an easement over the piece of land that's owned by Mrs. Ryan. I think that's something that should be checked if it hasn't already been checked. Perhaps it has. I haven't attended any of these hearings before, so I don't know. But the one thing that does concern me is that when we went to build back in around 2000, 1999 to 2000, and we went to access the utility, which was supposedly already in the ground there, we found that the water line that had been run, and it runs roughly 1,000 feet from where I tapped into it, all the way down to Clinton Avenue, through my lot and down the road to another lot. I don't know, maybe you've already seen plans of what that easement looks like. I do have a drawing of it. I don't know if it's exactly accurate, but there's a drawing that was done a few years ago. But we found that the water line was inadequate. We had to excavate the entire easement, all 1,000 feet of it, and replace the water line. And when doing so, we also replaced the sewage line because there were no cleanouts on that line for 1,000 feet, which is somewhat of concern, I think. So that's existing now for my house. I don't know what the status of the utilities are for the lot in question because I never went far enough with it to really know and see what's there. But I am concerned that if the utilities need to be, in effect, in any way replaced or or modified, it's going to go through about 400 or 500 feet of my backyard, and I would like to have some assurance that that will be done with hand digging. And it was a big job when we had to do it, but we did it pre-construction, so it was nothing in the way, either on my lot or on the lot south of me, which has another several hundred feet of the utilities running through it. I also don't know about what the requirements are now for water metering, because we had to put a meter down at Clinton Avenue about 1,000 feet from my home, which is a requirement at that time of the water company. I understand that Mr. Fader, I think it was at 87, I don't know his name. Fader, right. I think the water meter may be at his home, I don't know. But I don't think he can do that anymore. And if that has to happen, there will have to be a lot of construction on land that is now already landscaped with driveways and things that didn't exist when I did it. So this is a word of caution for Mr. Zappi and whomever else is involved. Whether that's a consideration for you as a planning board, I don't know.
Okay, thank
Anyway,
you.
that's my comment.
Thank you very much. George, do you have any comment? Or?
We actually did raise the question about utilities, and the applicant indicated that they'll check all the utilities prior to construction. United Water will advise them of meters and whatnot, meter grids that they require. So the water and the sewer will be checked out prior to C of O. So anything there that's substandard will have to be replaced. And the applicants were, yes.
All right, very good. Any comments from the board?
Are those utilities issues serious enough to be investigated before?
So I think basically it's going to be contingent on the.
Well, they have an easement, so the easement is for maintenance. It's for if something breaks, you go in the easement to repair it. If it's repairing 10 feet or 1,000 feet.
But you know where it's coming from?
They have shown it on the plans, and they're aware of where it's at, and they'll have to dig with caution, because there's other utilities in there, so
Yeah.
they might be doing a lot of digging.
Okay, so anyway, I appreciate the efforts made to revise the plan and go into the AHRB, and we're happy to get their input. It seems like you got very clear direction, which I think was a motivation to move this forward. So thank you for doing that, and I'm sure they'll have, obviously advise you on the architectural form.
Any other comments from the public?
I don't think, do we have any other comments from the public? All right, so we're going to close the public hearing. Vote to close it, second?
Second?
All in favor? All right, thank you. All right, we have a resolution here.
Tommy, we talked about the fourth condition will be taken out.
They
That was
didn't
last
see that. They didn't get a revised.
Oh, okay, then
So-
Reed has it. Sorry.
Has to do with work on the existing driveway, so.
But it's not an issue, so don't worry about it.
Is this?
It's not in your version, sorry.
It's not hers, yeah.
George and I were discussing it today.
Can't trust my version? Okay. All right, so I'm going to read a motion now. The Village of Dobbs Ferry Planning Board Resolution granting site plan approval for the construction of a single-family house, 89 Beechdale Road, Judson. Whereas Zopico Real Estate Development Contract Vendee has applied for site plan approval to construct a single-family house and make related site improvements at 89 Beechdale Road, and denoted on the tax assessment maps as Section 3.160, Block 143, Lot 27. And whereas the following plans and documents were submitted, which there are several here, whereas the planning board is familiar with the site and surrounding areas and proposed improvement plans and the use of the property, and whereas a public hearing regarding the subject application was held on March 2nd, 2017, and continued on to meetings of April 6, 2017, and May 4, 2017, and all appropriate comments duly considered. And whereas the planning board has reviewed the staff report prepared by James J. Hahn Engineering dated April 29, 2017, for the application, and whereas the development of a single-family house on the subject property which contains no on-site recreational facilities will further burden the village's existing recreational facilities. And whereas the construction of a single-family house is a Type 2 action under State Environmental Quality Review Act and is therefore exempt from further environmental review. Now therefore be it resolved that the site plan reviewed herein is not inconsistent with the village's LWRP and vision plan. And be it further resolved that the planning board of the village of Dobbs Ferry herein grants site plan approval for the subject application conditioned on the following. Number 1, all applicable provisions of the site plan regulations and other applicable county and state regulations shall be met. Number 2, prior to the issuance of the building permit, all required site plan and engineering review fees shall be paid, and all items of the village consulting engineer's memo dated March 31st, 2017 shall be addressed to his satisfaction. Number 3, prior to the issuance of a building permit for the subject application, the site landscape plan shall be finalized to the satisfaction of the village's consulting landscape architect. Number 4, prior to issuance of the building permit for subject application, a payment of $10,000 shall be made to the village's recreation fee fund. The following language shall be added to the plan. Quote, approved subject to all requirements and conditions of a resolution dated May 4, 2017 of the Planning Board of the Village of Dobbs Ferry, New York. Any change, erasure, modification, or revision of this plan absent pre-approval from the Planning Board shall void this approval. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall have an effective date of May 4, 2017. I make the motion.
Second.
Second. All those in favor? Passed. So item number 3, continuation of a conference sorry, I don't see the applicant here. Continuation of Presubmission Conference, proposed minor subdivision approval to relocate existing property lines located at 8587 Ashford and 2 English Lane. Is anybody here to speak on that? No?
That was taken off, right?
It was taken off, all right.
That was taken off.
That was carried, I think it was.
Carried over?
to the next-
Carried over, yeah.
Okay.
Is that Doug Austrian?
Correct.
That's right, yeah.
Yes, that was the 2 lots, the,
Yeah. Historic lot.
he asked, yeah, he asked for continuation.
Okay.
All right, number 4, pre-submission conference for site plan approval for proposed new garage addition, 36-foot by 29-foot on property located at 169 Clinton Avenue. We had previously approved this addition of a garage at this location. All right, so I think these are some modifications to that application.
Garage got larger.
Run another Ferrari.
Good evening, Jonathan Walker with Steve. Yeah, we were here about 2 months ago, and we got approval for a garage that was 2 foot smaller in each direction. After reviewing the garage a little closer with the client, they were concerned about the proximity to the cars to each other. They're classic Corvettes, so we wanted a little more room. We also put in a powder room so Mr. Tarrant can wash up before he goes back into the house.
And the kitchenettes, you can make a little snack before heading out on the
It's
road.
microwave out there, that's all there.
Look, I get it. I'm all about it.
So what we did is we held the back corner that we had approval previously for, 5 foot off the side property line and 10 foot off the rear property line, and we added the 2 foot towards the interior of the property and towards the front. So there's no impact on any of the yard, they don't impact on any of the neighbors. We're still under the lot coverage, we're still under the impervious surface, just a little bit of an upgrade for the client, a little bit of an insurance policy so the doors don't get thrown open and damage the vehicle next to it.
Were there some changes in leaders and?
Yeah, we actually received AHRB approval last Monday, 2 Mondays ago. We did change some of the leaders because the roof got bigger. We needed a little more drainage in the ground. In the ground, I got comments from George earlier today. I think some of the comments, some of the notes are in there. They're just strewn throughout the drawing, so I can address that with George later on. We did move some windows. Nothing really major. A lot of materials remain the same as the existing house.
So this is going to go back to the HRB?
We received approval 2 weeks ago, or
Oh,
2 days ago.
of this modification?
Yeah, on this modification, yeah.
All right, so I'd like to hear from the board if there's a possibility of making a waiver.
That was our recommendation after looking at it. The changes were modest, and this is the type of thing where you are empowered under the ordinance to grant a waiver. Both the Board of Trustees and this board can bring waivers. This is strictly a planning board item, so you have authority to waive.
And it's the waiver of site plan review. You already approved this, it's a minor change. It's not a waiver of any dimensional requirements.
So then these plans basically take the space of the former ones?
Correct.
Yep. All right, any comments from the board? Anybody? Okay, well, I'll make the motion to waive site plan review on these modest changes.
There is a resolution.
Oh, you need a resolution to waive? Okay.
Well, it states that the other your prior resolution is in full force and effect also. Any conditions.
Very good, okay, I'm sorry to get this right.
That's the motion.
All right, here's the motion. Village of Dobbs Ferry Planning Board resolution granting a waiver of site plan approval for minor modifications to the previously approved development of a detached garage structure at 169 Clinton. Whereas Stephen Tilley, architect, on behalf of Don Terracone, owner, has applied for site plan approval to construct a detached garage at 169 Clinton Avenue and denoted on the tax assessment maps at Section 9, Block 559, Lot 110A. And whereas the following various plans were submitted, whereas the planning board is familiar with the nature of the site, the surrounding areas, the proposed improvement plans at the meeting of February 2nd, 2017, granted site plan approval for the original planned project. And whereas the applicant has modified the plan for the construction of a detached garage, whereas the planning board finds the proposed changes to be modest in nature, and now therefore be it resolved that planning board herein grants a waiver of site plan review subject to the applicant's compliance with the terms and conditions of a February 2nd, 2017 planning board regarding the proposed garage construction. Be it further resolved that this resolution shall have an effective date of May 4th, 2017. I'll make the motion. Second?
Second.
All in favor? All right. Thank you. All right, then item number 5 is the last one on our list here. We have a referral from the Board of Trustees for amended site plan approval for a proposed new ramp, new garage, door size and location, and the additional detail for bench area opposite Our Lady of Pompeii Church on the property located at 75 Main Street, also known as the Oceana Building. Okay. All right, so it seems there's nobody here to speak on this. So this was referred to us. I'll just run through a number of changes here from a letter from Gotham Design. We have 3 sheets here. Ramp was previously shown on the drawings reviewed by the planning board, but of course was not specifically approved those. Location and size, the garage door on Chestnut Street was shifted a couple of feet in response to preferences by the HRB. Is it working? I'll move it closer. So there's a ramp that's right on Main Street that's being proposed with some steps. Also requiring, I think, a modification of the sidewalk. Location and size of the garage door on Chestnut Street has shifted a couple of feet. And additional detail has been provided for the bench area created opposite Our Lady of Pompeii. So what first struck me about this was the ramp extending out 4'9" onto the sidewalk on Main Street. They show an existing curb and an extension of a proposed curb with a ramp at the crosswalk from both directions. So clearly they're trying to obtain accessibility requirements into the retail area only. This is not the main entrance to the building. On the side, the proposed garage door is 10 feet wide. I believe it was some 16 feet wide before, and is shifted in location. And on the rear of the building, along Palisade Street, they have some steps, basically a door coming out at the upper garage level, steps going down and turning, and some benches facing Our Lady of Pompeii. Any comments from the board?
I do have concern, are we losing parking spaces on Main Street with this bump out?
I think there's a bus stop there.
We will not, but the bus stop's there?
Says there's a bus
I know
stop.
there was some concerns that someone had about the,
Right.
why can't this be done interior?
Well, that would be my position is that, you know, this happens a lot in New York City, basically, especially when an investment this size on a development, you try and preserve the historic nature of the building. I think this ramp would be detrimental to that, and you try and accommodate it on the inside, either with a ramp or even a lift.
Yeah, and also, I know they have elevations for,
The rear, but not the front, yeah.
they don't have an elevation of that size, so I don't actually.
Yeah, I think we.
I mean, I have to be honest and say, I was not here, I guess I missed, or successfully mixed some of the earlier
Well, I think
meetings for this, so I didn't.
So you submitted a front elevation?
No, you don't think you missed any.
Okay, because I'd be concerned, as you are, Javier, about what both the use of the sidewalk space and even more, the impact on the front elevation of the building. And I don't know how to evaluate that based on what we have before us.
Right.
Was
Well, I
there a
think-
presentation earlier?
They didn't really have one, they had a small one at the Board of Trustees, this is the first time here.
But did they show a kind of front elevation to show what this would look like on the facade of the building?
I don't recall. Do you remember that one?
There was something, because I know I had remarked about what it looked like, and it didn't go with the historic.
But not
Yeah,
at this,
we'll let
not
them
at this
know,
board,
we'll
yes.
let Patty know that we need some sort of elevation on the front to see what it
The
looks
front
like.
elevation, some kind of presentation from them.
Yeah.
And then I think it probably makes sense, even though I realize it probably is less efficient for them. I appreciate Javier's comment about trying to figure out something on the inside of the building, or.
Yeah, I think it's,
Even a lift or something,
Yeah.
I mean.
For access from Chestnut to the back.
Well, at the moment,
Well,
I
there
think
you're
they
even
don't
lower.
connect, yeah. So this retail is really independent, I think, from the rest of the building, is my understanding, except for maybe egress.
Well, there could be a ramp on Chestnut, because this traffic is really heavily used, and, I mean, there's 2 4-foot pinch points here.
Exactly, yeah.
That, I mean, if the ramp was on Chestnut, I mean, it would be the same problem as, in terms of the architectural
Yeah.
integrity, but
That's a little,
there's less
steep.
traffic on Chestnut.
Yeah, it starts dropping off pretty steeply onto Chestnut, so you make matters worse in a way.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Well, we'll let them know and tell them they should come to the next meeting if they want you to consider it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, also 4'9" is, certainly wider than the minimum, which is probably about 3 feet or something for the ramp.
Okay.
And, so anyway, I think there's a lot of room for improvement here.
We'll be in touch, and Ed and I will be in touch.
Okay, in regards, to the side elevation entry, I can't really comment on that. And the rear, it seems it could be better. There's a huge amount of benches. There's really no indication of landscaping. So I don't know who's gonna sit at all these benches. But judging by this, it looks like, some over 20 feet of benches. I don't know who would use that.
How does the church feel about the benches? Just wondering, I mean.
Where did they go? Was that a request from
Is that-
someone, actually?
I don't know.
Is it overflow seating for the church?
Put a screen.
That was my concern. I didn't know exactly what the scale of this was. Is it on their property?
Yes.
Open to the public?
Yeah.
Okay, because I ran into a similar situation years back when we were talking about Stop and Shop and taking away the right turn lane, and they were going to propose things like this. Well, in my estimation, is called an attractive nuisance, because it gives people a reason to stop there, drink, or whatever else it is. So that's my concern. I do, not often, see people staggering along Palisade Street, trying to get home. And if there's benches there, I know exactly what's going to happen. And it's going to be right across, from the church. I'm not making a judgment on people. I'm just saying that's a godsend, for someone who's trying to negotiate their way home. And they're there the whole night. So that was one of the reasons why when I saw it on the agenda, I wasn't quite sure exactly what the purpose of it is. it a mini park area, or we have a park across the street? Is it to give people a chance, who are out of breath coming up the hill, to stop for a few minutes and go on? I just wasn't quite sure of the.
Yeah, no, it looks like this should be facing a plaza or something, you know, I mean, like a public
But
area.
my concern is that, as I say, it might be an attractive nuisance, and right across from the church where we do have older people coming, so, you know, that would be my only red flag. I'm not here to yell at anything, but that's just raised my, that we're gonna put a gazebo and some other things for sake of our church. I mean, that's great. We have enough trouble, unfortunately, the police came out right by the basement. It goes down and away from the church, it's where they smoke pot or the drink in those areas. And, we see the debris in the morning. So, you know, this is my only concern. I just wanted to see what they had in mind and just to raise that concern.
Okay, thank you. No, that was, you've confirmed, you know, there's sort of a lack of use and, you know, it's not quite clear what the point of it. I think at one point there was a discussion about having, you know, if your service is let out or whatever, that there could be a nice little, we'll call it a plaza over here, but a lot of benches I don't think helps.
Yeah, but I think most people leave.
Right, yeah.
They don't hang around, they hang out in front of the church doors.
Yeah.
But, you know, as far as staying there. But again, I'm not quite sure what their intent was, the purpose of it is. But my own concern is that right across the street from the church, you know, if it becomes a place where, you know, people park themselves.
Is there, do you ever find people dropping off right there, or is that not really?
No, they usually pull in front of the church.
Yeah, they come the right direction, they don't come.
Because most of them try to avoid crossing the street.
Right.
Because right now, there's no stop sign off the hill. So it's a dicey thing, so most of them try to make sure that they pull around in front of the church and drop off. I know that because I can't get into my driveway. When I go down, and that's just, there, in front of dropping people off.
So if there was a drop-off point opposite, you don't think that would be of use?
I don't think so.
Okay, thanks.
It would be just adding potential danger to the situation. But as I said, that was just a concern. With that being right in that particular position.
Okay, thank you very much.
Okay, thank you.
We'll see you next time.
All right, so we'll look at this again if it comes back to us with more information and kind of a better.
I mean, what is, I'm just curious, like, what is a referral from the Board of, I mean, is this like here, is this like,
Any site plan that is in one of the zones, first goes, thought process goes go to the Board of Trustees first.
right?
So they know what it is, and they're not surprised if it's 6 months later or whatever. So went to the Board of Trustees to just so they were aware of it. They did approve an easement, because they would need an easement to get into our right of way for the ramp, subject to your approval, obviously, of the site plan. But this is normal course to go to the Board of Trustees for referral.
But then, what is the, or the sort of, like, normally, if we're acting on something, sometimes we have public hearings.
Yeah, no, we'll have a public hearing on this, yeah.
Oh, I see. So all of that is yet to come,
Correct.
presumably? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
I didn't understand what kind of action we were.
Yeah, no,
This is
this
sort
is
of
just
just for
a-
information, really.
This is like a pre-submission.
Okay.
On this review status chart, it says that the AHRB granted approval. Were there drawings that are a little more detailed than this, do we know?
What's that? I'm sorry, I missed that.
I'm sorry,
What is the
on
HRB?
his status chart, he has the AHRB approved, granted approval of this project. Are there drawings that are more?
AHB granted approval of the project.
HRB suggested the movement of the driveway on Chestnut.
Okay.
But
That's what's, but
Oh,
they
okay.
had no input on the ramp.
The ramp or the
So,
benches?
I mean, in terms of the drawings, are these the drawings that they looked at for approval, or? I mean, is there anything more detailed in this?
It must have been something showing
No,
material.
yes, there is definitely more detail than this. Because they have an approval for the rear building,
Right.
which was a lot more detailed than this.
Oh, okay, yeah, it'd be great to see that. I mean, even though just out of interest.
I agree.
This is pretty sketchy.
Zoning
Did the-
elevation.
Okay, like-
Yeah, it's just the zoning elevations. I think there's architectural drawings.
Oh, good.
All right.
All right, very good. So, oh, you want to speak on this?
Thank
you.
Most of what Steve said on the board, because I can't, somebody picked up on mine. I want to be sure that I understand.
You gotta go to the mic
Gotta
so
go
you
to
can
mic.
talk.
Yeah, we can't hear you.
You can't hear me?
We can, but you're public.
My name is Judith Spikes with 5 Grace Terrace. When I read that the Board of Trustees referred this to us, it seems to me that just, excuse me, with no more information than it was noticed and that is on this agenda, it sounds to me like putting this new ramp on Main Street, moving a, what is it, 16-foot garage door, making it 10 feet, and moving it somewhere on the other street, and then whatever is going on in the bench area opposite Our Lady of Pompeii, has the potential to alter all 3 facades that face streets. Do you get my point?
Yes.
I think somebody was saying something about putting this, putting this ramp on Main Street did have the potential to alter the 3 things that said about restoring the historic, like there was Main Street, moving a garage somewhere on.
Well, it's a garage door. It's basically sliding on Chestnut. It was there before, but it would be changed over here.
Well, I think I heard that it's a different size and it's being moved somewhere, but it doesn't say.
Well, it's, I'm understanding it's shifting a little bit.
6 feet over.
It does.
And it's narrower.
It was at the suggestion of the Architectural Review Board. They didn't like the space in between the entrance and the garage door, and they thought it was more coherent if they moved the garage door over towards the entrance and get rid of that little return.
And then like Priest, I did not know what did not know what was proposed with the bench area.
That's why they come here, so you can hear the application.
Here, but not see it. I still.
Well, they're not here.
They're not
They're
here,
not
yeah.
here.
We're not
We really shouldn't have heard it and even discussed it.
Yeah, we're not really taking any
Unless-
action or anything else.
So that would be my final question. All that is going to happen before you make a decision?
Yes,
on
yeah.
these?
Yes, absolutely.
Like always.
Yeah, we need better information on this.
All right, so if there's nothing else, I move to adjourn.
Second.
Is there something?
Third.
All right.
All in favor?
Thank you very much.
Thank you.